want to take a few minutes and talk about the truck setup for a second here. We're on this hill climb, which I'll try to show you. It's basically like a channel that drops way down this mud hill, and it's steep. It's kind of crazy. The way that this Jeep is actually set up right now, the battery's in the back. We'll just go over this a little bit and kind of show you where stuff is at. So right now I've got the battery strapped into the back here. It's on the rear mount. This is the 3D printed mount that's used for the J2, or I guess it would be the two-door Jeep body. Very popular body, and it has all these mounting holes all over the place on it, so we just made use of them, of course. This here is the battery. Right now it's a 1500 milliamp 3-cell Helios RC. We just Dean's connected that there and wired it all the way down to the ESC, which is up at the front. And then of course we have these two printed side sliders. These are great because they just simply fit right on the chassis rail. There's two screws right there that bolt in from the outside. 3D print matches the body line. It has the mounting hole in the bottom right here for the pin that's actually already in the body. So you just screw it right in. And because the battery is bottom access, so you don't really have to take the body off unless you're doing like maintenance or something. I'll give you an overview here of how the layout is on the truck right now. Let me see if I can turn this camera around. So this is our just, you know, everyday Delta factory build right here. So there's coilover shocks in the back that are mounted to a new Delta axle. You can see them there, and they're level with the frame on top, so there's actually no shock towers there at all. The axle is a 44 style pumpkin and cover. There's a really low shock mount on it that's tucked right into the edge of where the rim would be. They still clear all the 1.55 rims, so no problem with that. There's lots of clearance for the smaller wheels. The shock's not in the way is what I'm saying. You can take a look here at the way that the drive shafts are set up. On the factory built trucks, we're using these fantastic new drive shafts. Really happy with these. They've got hardened pins in them and stuff, and they just seem to be really durable. They're quiet. The truck has a really smooth cycle. When it's running, you don't really see any kind of vibration or chugging or anything on it. As long as, of course, they're lined up, right? You have to set up the phase on the drive shafts. So I'm collecting some vegetation here. So, of course, scale transmission. All the Deltas come with that. The nylon 3D printed skid here at the back has a couple of mounting holes in it that hold the T-case. On this particular build, if you're going to use the two-door Jeep body, you have to notch in. You can see you can just barely see in there on top of the transmission. There's a notch in the yellow plastic. I think you can see that. The reason for that is inside the truck there's a console. Let me show you that. There's a floor console in the truck right here that lifts up over the floor pan. You can see it there with the shifter in it. And that space actually now has the transmission in it. So there used to be a piece of material right here at the floor under the console. And so we've actually taken out that little piece of material there so the transmission can fit right up into the console cover on the truck. There's no real body change, except for that having to be notched out to fit that. And then in the front, the servo in the front is offset. So you can see there it's not centered, and there's a screw here that you can see through the servo mount. There's a screw there that attaches the rad and the light buckets, and the servo is in the way of that screw. It would have been right here. That screw there would have been right here, and so we actually chopped off that little post and that screw on the two-door Jeep body, and the servo sits right there. So I'll see if we can look in the wheel well and actually see that. Can't really see it, but anyway, there's one little post in there with a screw on it that we took off. So regarding the regarding this hill climb, we're going to try this with the other two builds as well, the long wheelbase. This is the mid wheelbase on the Delta chassis, and we'll try it with the super short Sammy 252 millimeters and just see. You know, you never know, and the weight balance changes on the truck with the wheelbase change, so we'll see. I think if I had taken the roof off of this, as I was hoping to do when I had time, I was going to put the little tube cage in it and out of some tube steel, and that would have been, I think, lowered the center of gravity. At least it would have brought it forward, and then I probably could have made it up this mud climb without really any issues. And also moving the battery from the tail over to the sliders would have probably done some real good for that center of gravity as well on that mud climb. So we'll get some more footage on this thing in a minute. In there though, look.
Not anymore, it's all chewed up. There's 0 moisture lines. Oh, that's a cute shot.
Oh man. You can do that line, I know you can.
That one right in front of me?
No, the one that you're supposed to be doing.
That's where you need the bracket.
Yep, told you. Should have listened to Kevin. So the Samurai took a little bit to get up there, but as I expected, it's quite a bit lower center of gravity than the Jeep. The Samurai CFG is like right here, and I'm pretty sure the Jeep is somewhere back here, so my instant center on the Jeep is actually ahead of that, and that would lift the nose. There's some geometric math that you can do on that to kind of get a feel for it. I'll put up a picture in the Scale Builder Guild thread so you can see how I did the math on the Jeep, on the Samurai, sorry. It's pretty cool. This one having the battery way down here, it's in the fuel cell in the back, so pretty much where you would have the extra, you know, all your fuel, whatever. It's very low, it's below the frame. The battery's actually hanging below the frame on the Samurai. Very, very short links though. Short drive shaft, short wheelbase, all that usual stuff. The front end from here forward is the same on all the Delta trucks. What's changing is in the back. So On the short wheelbase, you can see that the links are just tiny. But even then, we did manage to climb the hill with that really short wheelbase with the low center of gravity. The battery's like down here behind it. Pretty neat. Yeah, that worked fine. And this truck has the 2 drivers in it, and it's like a complete build, full engine bay. So I'm really happy that got the Samurai to finally get up that hill. There's a line there that works. It's just a matter of putting all 4 tires in the right places so it'll actually do the job, you know. We're gonna give it a go with the Toyota and see what happens. Totally different. It's interesting to see, actually, if you want to bring me those 2 trucks, like right here. So we're going to do a little comparison shot here between the 3 of these. So hopefully the servo will shut up. There we go. Yeah. So the long wheelbase truck, as you can tell, had a lot less of an issue on the climb. There's a couple reasons for that. On the Toyota here, we're using the Marlin body. Oh, I can turn that off. There we go. So the Marlin has the same sliders. We got the same tunnel in it, so you can put a full interior. The inner fenders are there. This stuff is all available on our Shapeways section in the Delta section of our Shapeways store. Friggin' loud bird. Somebody shoot that thing. There's a couple of sliders here that will be available. Of course, all the Samurai stuff will be available on the Delta section of the store. And if you're on a PC, then and you're signed into Shapeways, then you can download the files from there and just print them at home. Like it's, if you don't have a printer, you can pick them up from the Shapeways store, so that'll be great. And I don't know if we just pissed off that bird or what, but maybe he doesn't like tiny trucks. So the Toyota did really well on the hill climb for a couple of easy reasons. First of all, the battery's right here. So instead of having the battery weight in the back like we had on the other 2 trucks, the battery weight is shifted forward. It's also the longest wheelbase. So as I said, from here forward, that's the same as the Jeep. From here forward, it's the same. On the Samurai, from here forward, it's the same. So we've got super short links here on the Samurai. We've got the middle wheelbase links here on the Jeep, and then we've got the long wheelbase links here on the Toyota. And I think the difference is the Toyota is light, very light truck. It's a low truck as well. But what helped us on this climb is that the hill was actually already cresting when the wheels got to the top. So the longer wheelbase on this climb actually helped us a lot. Really fun to see the differences, and I love doing those kinds of comparisons, you know, because it's important to see how each of the trucks is reacting on the same kind of terrain. So that's kind of what I really like to do for testing, is have, you know, multiple vehicles like this out at the same time, and then be able to run them on the same terrain, same time, same amount of dirt, you know, same amount of water, moisture, all that stuff, and just be able to compare them. So one of the things that I think I'm really impressed with the chassis layout is that the way that the geometry is in the CAD file, the engineering side of the file, it's proving to be really nice, predictable driving. None of the trucks have a really front end lifting tendency, more so than any would be the Jeep, because I think the battery weight needs to move forward under the seat. There is room for that, and I think I should probably move the battery up there just in order to get that center of gravity forward a little bit. With the roof on the Jeep, it's probably behind the door, I would say, right now. I'd like to move it ahead a little bit. So on the Toyota, we have the battery weight here in the center, and so the center of gravity on the Toyota is probably somewhere near mid wheelbase, which would be great. Yeah, first impressions, really happy with all three trucks. Very excited about the way that they ride on the trail. The suspension is the same on all three trucks. We're using the same shocks. They're all factory built vehicles. So pretty impressed, pretty happy with them. Field any questions you have down in the comments if you want, or on the Scale Builder Guild thread. I'll put a link for the Scale Builders Guild thread. That's probably the best place to have discussion about the videos and the different types of builds that we're using on this Delta chassis, the different types of setups. So I'd really like to help you out with the questions and answers over there on the Scale Builder Guild. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks guys for watching this little testing video here, and we're going to go pile some more wheel time on these trucks and see if we can't empty some Helios RC battery packs. Thanks for watching.